Hello, and welcome. Happiest of Tuesdays. I'm going to put on some tunes so that I can paint. I know right now this beastie is looking like a dark void of nothing because I've spray painted it with a black color on top of the existing black magic sculpt that was there. But I just wanted to give it a little base, to give it something for that paint to stick onto. So I'm going to get some tunes going, and then we'll start peeling away the eyes, the tape that's kind of going over them, and then I'll squirt some paint into my palette and start laying down color. It's not going to take a long time to paint this guy because I'm sloppy as can be when it comes to painting, and it's fast and dirty, and that's okay because it goes into the computer and it gets all bashed up anyway. So this morning I did not get to dance like I normally like to do for some exercise because Pepper, my dog, woke me up at 1 in the morning, then again at 3 in the morning, jumping off the bed, which told me that she needed to go out and go to the bathroom. She was not having good times with her stomach. So what I'm doing is quickly, I taped over, come on, paint. Maybe I need to move this over here. I'll do that. That'll be a little easier. Make it so I can maneuver this and move this around. I put some painter's tape over the eyeballs just for when I spray painted it to give it a place so that I wouldn't have to really scrape away too much paint. So I'm just going to peel that tape up so I can look at those eyes while I'm painting it. There is a little bit of grime and stuff on here, but I'll just clean that off as we go in a little bit and get that cloudiness away. Hey Heath, what's happening? I have not talked to you in a long time. I hope life is treating you well. Again, taking that tape off. Going to come over. We only did 2 eyes on this side. If you were here for any of the sculpting streams in the chat, it was mentioned that they wanted it an uneven number of eyes, so we made it so that one of them had been lost in some sort of horrendous battle. Cyclops, hey, thanks. Glad you're digging it and thinking it's awesome. It's got some tentacle tongues and some ridges, and this is going to be fast and easy to start getting this thing going. I'm going to turn it sideways because as I start to lay down color here, it'll be easier for it to capture in that screen. I think I want to start laying down some purples, and what I've got a mix of some Army Painter, and then I've got some Turbo Dork paints if I want to get it all nice and shiny and sparkly. Just gonna shake it up a little bit. With this, I've got some alien purple. Sounds about right, being an alien creature. Just going to take this and squirt some into my palette. I have a silicone palette. It was part of a set. I can't remember who it was that originally made it. I believe Turbo Dork also makes these as well. One of the things about silicone makes it super easy when the paint dries to just pop out the leftover. Once I take a paint and I start using it and I'm working on it, I tend to put it aside to the side so that if I need it again, I'm like not searching and scrambling, accidentally grabbing the wrong purple. With this, I'm going to take, that brush is beat to hell. Let's see. I've got some old brushes. I've got some new brushes. Let's F up some new brushes and put them to the test. This brush has not been used at all, but it's got an angle on it. I don't want to use one with an angle. I just broke the seal on it, but let me just leave that as is. I want a flat brush, right? Because I'm going to be slapping it down. This one is pretty flat. I don't even know. I think got some of these as part of a Christmassy gift. So I'm taking some of that purple and I'm just going to lightly start to slap it down. You are getting a purple fish, at least for now, at least some foundational. Now I'm just lightly going over this, and what it's going to allow it to do is in the cracks and recesses from the sculpting, if I go over it and just kind of dry brush on it, it will allow that dark area down below to just kind of shine through. And because it's got this black foundation, sometimes you got to hit it with a couple of layers depending on how bright and punchy you want the color to be. And now if I hit the eyes, it's fine. I'll go and clean it up later. I can be sloppy if I want to. I love how quickly it can start to have depth and form because of all the sculpting nooks and crannies that I put in that space. Really makes painting fast. And for me, moving around and grooving while I paint just adds that much more enjoyment to it. I don't like to sit and paint if I can stand. Usually like when I have my easel up. What's up, Brian? If you all are in the chat and haven't checked out Neon Bastards, it went live today on Kickstarter. It's a Morkborg hack of Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland by my good friend Brian Shutter. And it is also going to be published by my company, Creature Curation. Just going to keep slapping a little color down, and then I may come back and go ahead and clean up the eyes a little bit now, or I may wait and scrape it off. I kind of like the eyeballs looking at me, so it's kind of talking to me in ways as I start to add other colors, add highlights and shadows and all that good stuff. How's everybody else doing today? I got a lot of paperwork, like money stuff, resolved this morning. I got a bunch of stuff packed for my trip for Austin. I need like the power strip, the extension cord that's lighting these lights up. So that's part of the desire to get this all painted up today, so I can pack that and load that in the van, for I will be leaving bright and squirrely Thursday morning. Okay, I'm going to grab a different brush so this one doesn't get filled with water. What's the URL? If you just go to Kickstarter and do a search for Neon Bastards, with a Z at the end, it's Bastards with a Z, you will find it. I don't know if Kickstarter will... what event is in Austin? There is a small show called Staple. It is a zine show. I know Chris, who's the organizer of it. I've known him through the internets for some reason for a while, and he invited me to be a guest. I'm also going to get to see my friend John Baltisberger, who has written a Vast Grimm novella that was part of the last Kickstarter. I've never met him in person, which is pretty rad. I love getting to hug my friends. And then I also will get to stay at my friends who own Turbo Dork, some of the paints that I have over here. I'm going to get to stay at their house and get to hang out with them. And there's some other cool people in Austin as well. And I've never been to Texas, so that's part of this year's adventures, is to try new things and explore stuff that I might not otherwise do. Yeah, it didn't go through. Sometimes I think you have to have certain permissions, or I have to enable certain permissions, I believe, for you to be able to post links on here. And since I'm in the middle of painting, I'm not going to futz with that right now. Oh, you're planning on swinging by Staples? Staple? Fantastic. I can't tell from the icon who is who. If I know you in other ways on the internet. Also, handles and different tags and all that stuff is always confusing to me versus real life names. It's part of why I have always done my name, just because it makes it less confusing for me. Okay, so I got those eyes cleaned up a little bit. This song has a long outro, gotta... You went to Kickstarter Neon Bastards? Is the font in the front center marked? Awesome. Marketed to you, fantastic. And that fits into the battle binders that we got going on. Okay, so I've got half of this head with a base of the upper area with a base of purple. I'm going to swing it around the back, and we'll just keep working it away. Then we'll come in with some highlights and start doing some blending and stuff. Maybe add some extra layers of the same purple so it can be richer. It's crazy how much coverage you can get out of these little tubes of miniature paints. We've only talked in Discord briefly. Okay. We don't know each other? Well, we will soon. That's one of the best things about convention life, is making real life friends. And one day I will figure out music and being able to play it on stream and where it won't have all the audio muted and banned. You use the same photo for everything? Yeah, that does make it easier. Plus, you've been a member of the Discord and run a bunch of games for me, so that makes it a lot easier for me to know who you are. Again, this is the Alien Purple going from Army Painter, just slapping this on super fast. It will come together quickly. I wonder what, I think maybe you might want to make the tentacle tongues like neon-y green. We'll see. Give it some of that Joker-y vibes. Got to make sure to put some highlights on the top rim of the fin. Okay, I already need a little more of that Alien Purple down in my palette. But I did not put a whole lot the first time around. I mean, gave it a squeeze, but like, there's not a whole lot of paint down in there, and it's already gotten a ton of coverage. Oh no, somebody stole your username for YouTube and Twitch? Well, that, like, myself and the other Brian, Colin, who is the creator of the Rampage video game, early on in the internet careers, we were fighting over names and URLs and all that good stuff. And now we're friends. Cat and finish. Excellent. Any particular type of cat? Or is that what the Mali is? Coming back in, getting those eyeballs. I'm going to totally have to come back in and clean those eyes up. It's alright. I can feel the spatter of the paint as it's splattering my forearm. And this brush, because of the textures, will start to get... One of the things with painting on these rigid sculptures is the brushes get beat to hell. They don't last nearly as long as they would if you were just painting on flat canvas. That's okay. Small price to pay for weird creatures. Gonna tilt this guy back. He's in with a couple of screws. Oh, but I'm holding on just a little bit to make sure I'm not popping him off. Just want to get under here a little bit before I come back around. Mali is short for malicious. Mean gamer in the early 2000s. Yeah, I get that. Why did that ear... Oh, there we go. All of a sudden, one of my earbuds was disconnected. Okay. Got some foundation going on in the upper. It's looking a little more lavendery than I'd like, but we'll get there. We'll add some depth and some extra color in a minute. Gonna get some water on this brush and go ahead and get some of this paint that I got down on the eyeball. I think I'm gonna get water, yep. Get some of that paint up. Or maybe I won't, maybe it dried real fast. May just have to come back in with a scraper tool and clean that up after it's all dry, which is fine. I just really like them looking at me. Anyone working on any creative projects this week? Okay, I think I should go ahead and add purple to the lower part and then maybe to its neck, and then we'll come back and keep hitting it with some others. Again, with the Alien Purple, the Warpaints Fanatic line. You will never complain about any color of purple? That's fair. I'm sure I'll come back in with some hot pink or some, magenta here at some point for some crazy highlights. Should turn this towards you guys so you can see it. Sorry about that. Sometimes I forget. I get all up in the looking at the beastie and where it needs to be. Want to make sure I get it every little nook and cranny that I want it to be, but continuing with dry brushing so I let those cracks shine through and the sculpting details really show off and allow it to have that depth that it needs to have, and do it without having to do much of the paint work. Psycho Chops, if you're coming Saturday to Staple, I'm bringing limited inventory of random stuff just because I only have a 6-foot table, which is much smaller than my normal booth setup. Is there anything in particular that you would hope that I bring with me on my quest? Plus, if I do the green tongue, it'll tie into the eyes. Yes, there are reasons. You're 2,000 words into your sequel story, and half of the outlining finished for the third story in the trilogy? Fantastic. I have some writing to do as well. I just, this morning, I finished doing the layout for Flesh of My Flesh, the quick start adventure that was part of the last Kickstarter, and now I need to finish up Terminus Star and finish up the epic adventure that'll be being run at Gen Con. Lots to do in a short window of time, but that's okay. I like letting things pile up and crank out the stuff and get a little bit overwhelmed with what I have to do, but it all seems to work out in the end. Effing pollen, man. I've still been walking Pepper at lunch every day, and it just has my sinuses feeling a little bit more wrecked than I would like. Okay, gonna tilt this guy back. Gonna get my fingers painted on because I'm putting my hands in wet paint like a fool, but that's just kind of what I do. Gonna quickly throw some purples down on here. Anybody else in the chat working on anything fun and creative? I'm so thrilled to get to be doing some sculpting again, some painting, even if this is rough and loose. I'll photograph this, take it into the computer, give this thing a full body makeover, figure out what this creature is like, stat this one up. Probably make a variation that'll go into my stretch goal for Rustborn Bastards. And then probably do a different variation for Patreon so I can get back to that because I'm behind. Hey, Lori, what's happening? What am I jamming to today? I'm listening to my 90s dance tunes, and right now it's Finally by CeCe Peniston. If I start to dance differently and want to know what the current jam is, let me know. It's crazy how embarrassing that might be to a lot of folks, but yeah, since I didn't dance this morning, I figured I'd put on my normal dance jams for my morning dance routine. Earlier there was some Jurassic 5, there was some Biggie, who knows what'll be next. And not all of it's 90s, but most of it is, and then there's some other things that I just enjoy dancing to in there. And so I want to make sure I get in here and get some of this covered. So I came back in with spray paint to make sure I got all the cardboard area and all the area that didn't quite necessarily get covered with Magic Sculpt, at least mostly black in there. even though this will never be seen once it's up against, once I make a wall-mounted plaque for it. But I want to at least get some coverage in here and make it look like I care about the inside of this beastie. You've been working on your RPG rolls, Heath? The Hacked Edge, the Hack of OSE, okay. Excellent, very good. Is it, I mean, OSE is pretty much like 2nd edition, right? Or is that like I've read it, but I can't remember. Is that more of like more like Black Hack? And what about it is like a major differentiating point between that and some of the other OSR style dungeon crawlers that are currently happening in the scene? Oh, working on creating an online database for it? Oh, Play Engine, fantastic. Yes, are you using something like Base 44 where a lot of it's written, like it does it for you? Or are you actually learning how to write in other languages? Game design and coding at the same time? Yeah, that's the undertaking. That is quite an undertaking. And now it's Snap, which I've always loved this song for some reason. I'm going to come back with the same color just to make it a little more rich and bold, especially on the top of the hawk. Except this one just keeps disconnecting. So once I get this purple in, basically I want to use up the last of the purple that I have in my palette, so I'm not wasteful, because I hate wasting paint. And then I'll come back in and we'll throw some other colors in here and try and maybe give some shading and gradients going on. And knowing that this is going to fade a little bit as the paint dries and soaks into the black that's already in here. Mist under that ridge. I need to make sure I look at it from all of the angles so I'm not missing little bits and looks unfinished in certain areas. Yeah, old school D&D designed for feels much closer to the metal. Totally. Yeah, 5e and Pathfinder's got way too much crunch to it. Have you played Shadow Dark at all? We have some of that being run at the local RPG night at the brewery that I host. I've ran a little, I've played a little. Definitely has a similar feel. I'm also a fan of the Merry Mushmen and how they have a retro feel, but like with modern sensibility in their graphic design. I don't know if you're familiar with them at all. I'm going to turn for a second. The pollen is getting my nose. And unmuted. Okay, a little more purple in my palette to use up. Give a little touches on the lower lip. Make it nice and shiny and rich. Skin contact. Skin contact. Skin contact. And already in a short window of time, this fella's starting to take shape. I'm gonna rinse out this brush. Slappity slappity slap. I just use a old whiskey bottle. I've been using this one for years. I like it just because it looks dirty and fun on my shelf. You did get to play an online Shadow Dark game? Nice. Okay, now I'm going to come in, because I do love some magentas. Wicked Pink, oh no, it's feeling light. It's feeling very light. I know, I may have to run upstairs and get some other. Let's see. The Pixie Pink is just a little too... I mean, it's pink, but it doesn't have that punch, you know? It's a little too pastel-y. You played Shadow Dark game last night? In the Veilstone setting. It's aliens versus Atlantis times Weird West. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Love the idea of that. I have not seen that setting. I've seen, you know, like the dark space setting. They were at Gamehole Con running a bunch of games. Okay, I'm just... Whoa! Okay. Sometimes you got to take the top off. And when you do, sometimes I pour a little heavy. That's all right. I will use it up, I'm sure. In person. Fantastic. Never use a water cup for painting that looks like the water cup. Oh, yes. No, I've drank plenty of water, and the touch of acrylic has crossed my lips many, many times. Okay, let's start putting a little bit of this magenta up top. Start blending it down, then we'll come back and do a little more. And just quickly dry brushing and sliding it down. And we'll take some more and bring some more up to the top after we get the front horn area, sorry. Choose your words wisely, Brian. I'm just gonna keep bringing more in here because I want it to be a little punchier. I'll let that dry and I'll bring some more in. It'll start to give it a gradation. It's harder to see, but we'll tilt that down and you can start to see the color blending there. I tend not to do color blends where it's wet on wet, just because it's so easy with this to just dry brush it on. And also if I screw it up, it's easy to go back in and just keep laying down another coating and keep it going. Now I'm going to get the paint off my brush to try and allow it to blend down and not bring too much of the magenta down here. Like I still want to have that purple in spots. It's so pretty outside. I feel like I should probably have the door open. But there is my neighbors have an outdoor cat, and I worry that it will come into my print shop and just show up, and I will forget it, and it will get trapped in here while I travel. Nobody wants that. So Heath, how far along in the process are you? Because I imagine that is quite a massive undertaking. Pretty happy with how the tips of these spiky spikes are going. Just always have to come around and make sure, like, if I'm slapping it from one side, the other side is probably not getting hit. So make sure you look at it from all the angles. Even the underside, the undercarriage of this beast. You got 3 inches of snow this morning and it's freezing? Brian, why? Man, I would hate to be that far north. It's so gross. It's like super warm, shorts weather. I didn't wear a hoodie or anything like that when I took Pepper for the lunchtime walk. It's a little bit breezy. Gonna come up underneath and give a little slap under the bottom side of these spikies to make sure they get it too. I would have to say I do believe that that the Wicked Pink is probably my favorite of these colors. It just fits all of my stuff so well. It's been the worst winter. Gross. That's why I moved back to North Carolina. And it's the worst winter of your life. Yeah, it's been the worst winter of your life because you were freaking out working in it most of the time. That's horrible. When you're slapping paint around like this, be careful if you got a lot of paint on your brush. I just slapped it, got it onto the backside of the creature. Not a big deal. Probably got it on my laptop screen. That's just, that's part of the way of things if you are messy. If you're not messy like me, it's something that you're going to want to be more conscious of. As you can see, I like how it's all starting to blend together, getting layers, some depth going on, putting some highlights on the fishy lips of this thing. Oh, watched not hide and seek, but Ready or Not last night. That was fun. Hey, thank you. Thank you about the stunning. I appreciate that. It's coming together, in a short amount of time. It's crazy how quickly, if there's details in the sculpt, how quickly it can get painted and look good. It doesn't have to look great, but just look good and passable for a cool looking creature. Especially since I'll take it into the computer, silhouette it, probably distress it, and add layers of collage in the computer. But I think it's time for me to start doing more monster sculptures again. I just enjoy it so much. Okay, coming around for, gonna try and match the two sides together of the upper top of the head. We'll see how it goes. Just getting some paint on the brush and just working it down till the paint is gone. Blending it down dry brush style. Trying to not put too much pressure in so it doesn't fill in the cracks. Dipped into the Oddities Expo? Yes. Yeah, I think that'd be good, especially if it's not the super big one at the convention center. Just the holiday market. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. Especially if I had weird story plaque type things with them, and a monster hunting character to go with it, telling the tales. Not unlike Dr. Grodborts from Weta Inc. Hey John, thanks about the purples. I'm still probably going to have to come in and throw some dark purples in as well, but it's coming together. I think I have Q-tips down here, but usually once I'm done, I'll take Q-tips and some rubbing alcohol and start swirling it around the eyes to get the paint up and get it nice and clean and squeaky. Yes, awesome. Yes, anybody new that's in here, Neon Bastards is launched on Kickstarter today. It will be Battle Binders format, zine style. I will be taking Brian's layout, printing it out here on the printer that's right over here, the worm containment unit. Again, just taking this paint and dry brushing it in to slowly work it in and giving it the fade into it. Gonna need to come in and do the ridge of the eye on this side. Now that I'm seeing it from this side, I can tell where I want to come in and do some bright on that side as well, even though the light might not be hitting it like that. Also, one of the great things about sculpture and shading, I don't have to deal with a lot of real shading because natural light is going to take care of the stuff that you would normally have to do in flat painting. You can just let light do what it does. I think once we get this in the bottom part done with this color, I think I'm going to shift gears to either doing the teeth or the tongues, just to get an extra pop of color in here and start seeing how that works. Oh, hey Richard. Hell yeah. It's good to see you again, and it was a pleasure to meet you in person at Gary. or I may or may not be driving through your area sometime Thursday on my way to Austin. It's awesome knowing people in the real world and knowing them on the internets as well. I'm going to bring some of this magenta over onto the back side of these eyeballs, the eye ridges. I feel like I'm going to want to bring some blues into here as well, just to add some more. John, I wonder if there was a way you can add a soundtrack when you just do these in the future. So, yes, no, I need to figure out music on YouTube. I also think if I'm going to keep doing this, I'm probably going to start doing multi-streaming where I'm streaming to Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, all the various places. But I need to understand music rights and how that works so that it doesn't just silence the audio and cut it all out. And I haven't had time to mess with that yet with all the travel and all that stuff. But yes, that is on the agenda because I would much rather not just be dancing in my head. Will do, Richard. Most likely I'm going to be like just gunning it because I think it's my estimation with gas stops and bathroom stops is it's going to be like a 15-hour drive. So I'm planning on getting to Austin probably around 6 p.m. Austin time, which means I should probably leave about 5 in the morning Eastern. Yeah, that's the whole reason. Music rights are the whole reason that I've just got headphones on and I'm just dancing around like a fool. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about this so far. I can see where like the color's a little more muted, that I want it to be a little more punchy, but I want to get some of the color down underneath first, especially knowing that I don't have a whole ton of this wicked pink left. I'm sure I have other pinks upstairs in the house, but I don't want to leave you. Let's go drop some color on these lips. And try not to get too much on the teeth inside. Yeah, I don't think, like most of my friends that make music, I don't think most of their music is stuff that I would want to dance to. Like, I enjoy listening to it, but it's not the stuff that keeps me bouncing around. Another little punch here to try and brighten that up. Okay, like I said, let's get a little more of this. Again, I'm going to have to pop that top off because it is running low. I'll set you here. Like at the beginning I said, when I use paints and use specific colors, I take them from my array of paints and move. Don't leave us. No, I won't. I will never leave you. Well, I may when the stream's over. But I will always be in your heart. Got a little bit on the edge. I always try and go back in with my paintbrush to pick that paint up so I'm not being wasteful. Because it is the worst when you're in the middle of like painting something and you run out of a specific color. Especially when you have it in like on a big thing and you want it to be all over that big thing. Okay, we need to come in around here. We've got lots of this this wicked pink now that I've poured into the paint well, into the palette. So I think we've got plenty to do what I need to do. Here I'm being a little more careful because I'm about to hit on where all the tongues are coming out, where there's teeth jammed in there. If you didn't watch the sculpting streams, I did 2 streams where I built this guy out. He's on there if you want to go back and speed watch it, or if you're curious at all how this guy was made. Or if you have questions now, I'm happy to share. You got some music going on that's not drowning out your studio audio? Excellent. Glad you're dancing with me. I wonder if I could share a Spotify playlist and have it that way. I don't know how it would sync up real time. I've never tried to do anything like that. There are smarter people out there with these newfangled music apps than me. Gonna give a little highlight on that, the piece that's kind of jutting out, especially for that side profile. Side profile. So, is this creature sentient? Is this some hellspawn demon from the bitter void, spit out from some other universe, ready to consume all the meat bags that come in its path? Is it a worm eater? So many options. This is exactly what I needed today. A little painting, a little monster making, a little dancing, all the joys. And the friends as well. Thank you. Yes, it's crazy how quick the texture comes out in this thing. And with that, if you weren't watching, I'm not leaving, I'm right here. Most of the texture on this was made with like a texture map that was just this piece of rubber that I got at like Michael's years ago. And just smashing that down into it. Aside from the deep grooves that I put in. It's Blinky from The Simpsons. Oh, no. I could see that from The Simpsons. But I think it's going to have more of like a humanoid body, I think. Maybe like big hulking shoulders. Maybe long, weird tentacle type things as arms. Maybe not. Maybe it's weird. I do a lot of slug bodies on things. Like the lower portion being slug-like. You were thinking it's feral, but it could be a pet for Shit King Saul. I see, yes. And then especially with the, what are the things that came out in the waste, like the things that were mutated by the wasted, they came out down in the lower barges. Why don't I know my own lore? And all my books are upstairs in my office. There's no room. Well, no, I guess I do have books down here, but they're all sealed up for cons. Blinky could have mutated into a humanoid, that's true. Just going to keep adding a little bit here to give some gradation. Give it a little more extra pop of color. I'm going to tilt this back. Try not to get too much paint on my fingers. Hello, my friend. And now you can see underneath, there's a lot that's just kind of flat and looks like it needs some love, especially if this were to get hung up higher on a wall and somebody's walking underneath it, because a lot of times when people have purchased some of my wall-mounted taxidermy, they'll hang them up higher out of fear of running into them. Ropey arms? Yes, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking with like the tentacle-y type arms, like. Plus, they can also then lash with those if they were like almost like whips or lassos or what have yous. I'm curious how I'm going to make the plaque, because traditionally I've made them out of wood and cut them out with a jigsaw. But knowing that I want to put LEDs into it and make it way more sci-fi, I need to figure that out. Not knowing your own lore is key to making a game. I think you're quite right, Brian. The more I forget, the more interesting it gets. Yeah, Celeste chained me down to my own creativity. True. It's crazy how many times I have to go back through my own documents to figure out stuff that I've written. One of the joys of having a shitty memory. Set you down for a minute, my friend. Okay. One, I'm going to adjust the thermostat because it's blowing on me, but I want it to be cooler. Boop, 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 boop. And then, drinking some water. It's good to stay hydrated, and especially when it's not the paint water. I have made the same thing twice, and gosh, I felt like a fool. Like, it was two members of one of the Space Pirate factions, and there was one member, same name, different images, different stuff. I had to go back and rework them, because, yeah. And it wasn't even that far apart in, like, the Patreon stuff, either. It's like maybe a couple months at best. Okay, I've used up all of this paint color that's in my palette. We may come back to you, my friend, in a little bit, but first we're going to put some other colors in here. Okay, in the chat, teeth or tentacles? Teeth or tentacles? I will give it a couple minutes, because I know there is the delay. I'll slap the wicked pink out of my paintbrush, or I'll try. Get some of that out on my fingers. Well, mixing up the lore between projects is sometimes, that's one reason I tend to stay in my lane and just stick with the Vast Grimm stuff. I did intentionally put some lore Easter eggs in the mold where it connects the two settings. But yeah, trying to stay in one space makes it a lot easier on my brain. Now, while you're deciding on teeth or tentacles, I'm going to go ahead and pull some colors that Tentacles 1. Okay, I know something interesting that I think I'm going to do for the teeth. This may be a little too shiny. Tentacles 2. Jason, good day. That's why you like the Saturday morning idea of Neon Bastards lore. It's always changing to sell toys. Aha, that's smart. Tentacles 3, okay. So far, all we've had are tentacles, so we are going to go with tentacles. I will put this back over here, knowing that I want the tentacles to tie into the eyes, even though the eyes are super messy right now. Let me get a tool to scrape them. So I'm just going to take one of my normal sculpting tools, just kind of scrape away at some of the paint, just so I can see the pretty of the green, so I can look into the green eyes of my lovely creature. Okay, and then I'll really clean them up later when it's time. And especially before I put any like finisher on it, any coat or anything like that. Tentacle time is always the best time. You are not wrong. All right, so I can see the green in the eyes, and for that we are going to use rainforest green. So there's a glare on that. So let's see, can I make it? It's a nice shiny kind of alien-y green. We'll use that as the base. We'll probably come up with some deep blues maybe to give that some shading, and then maybe tie that blue back into the base of the creature to kind of bring the two together a little bit. I like trying to have colors in multiple places so it does not feel out of place. Again, this one's feeling a little light. I may like this color a lot, much like I like the Wicked Pink. Okay, I'm putting this other pink back in the rack because I have not used it. I only want to keep paints on my left, paints that I've used. I've not put a lot of this paint in my palette just because the tentacles are much smaller than the rest of the mass of this creature. Now, I'm going to have to try and be a little more careful because I'm going into the mouth. I'm going beyond where the lips are, where I've already painted. And as I've stated already, I tend to be a sloppy painter. So I'm going to try not to be super sloppy with this. Sir, kisser, lover. In case you didn't know, that girl is Poison. Because Belle Biv DeVoe is on my radio right now. This is one of the most patient I am when I'm doing stuff like this. So not who I am. Definitely can't groove to it to the music while I'm doing more intricate details. And then it'll be even more when I'm coming in with the teeth. But I think it was a good call to do the tentacles first. Because especially with some of the teeth kind of on top of them. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Take a step back. Look at the pink that's still a little wet coming into the tentacle. I don't know when it was that Bobby Brown's My Prerogative came out in my childhood. I think it must have been middle school or something. But God, do I always want to dance to it when it's on. I don't know if my dad played it a lot, like if he had like a cassette single of it or something. Oh wow, that high pigment green, so bright over that black. Yes, it'll mute though, I'm sure, as it dries. Like you can see where it's muting here already. I'm just gonna have to hit it a couple of times. I have a feeling like as I stream, it's going to be like the shit on Last Week Tonight where I'm saying the same thing over and over again about goofy music from my childhood, where they're like, and now this. The times Brian talks about blah, 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 blah. Going down into the mouth hole. It was difficult to get in there with the black spray paint and try and get as much in there as I could. Myself around, everybody stop. What brand of paint? This is, I'm working with Army Painter right now with their War Paint line. War Paints. Sorry, glare. Or hey, here we go. Yeah, I think 2 years ago, both my son and I got a bunch of these for Christmas. So, ooh, not on the lip. For the longest time, I was using Reaper paints. I love Reaper's paints. That's how I started using like miniature paints on my sculptures. So I backed the First Bones Kickstarter campaign. And I would still use those today if I had any still in my arsenal, but I used all of those up. And I think when we got these, it was more about getting big sets of, like, big old sets of them. Especially with him starting out. He's painted a bunch of, like, the Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff, a lot of the, what's the Marvel, like, cutesy, squatty, chibi style minis. I really enjoy that game too. I think that's fun. Especially the variables, being able to play all the different characters, have all the different win conditions with different enemies. And remember when MC Hammer and Crisscross were wildly popular for that one summer? Do I ever? I may have had some Hammer-like pants. I think that was probably 8th grade for me, maybe. Lori, do you recall? I think that might have been 8th grade. One of my earliest concerts, I saw Young MC, Black Sheep, and Soup Dragons, but I think that was like ninth grade or 10th grade. And the whole reason I liked the Soup Dragons was because they had the word dragon in the name of their band. Like that's all I needed as a D&D nerd, was to be like, you like dragons? I like dragons. And then I did a 3D. We had to do an album cover, and I did like a 3D piece where I did a Draculich that was popping off of the cover. Had absolutely nothing to do with their music, but everything to do with dragons. Gotta make sure I get all up underneath in all the nooks and crannies. And then I'm gonna have to come in and hit this again with some more green, because it's muting. I want it to feel rich and vibrant and lashing. Okay, coming in, trying to get a little more further back with the tongue, so it will get all the way in there. Gentle, patient, slow. All right. Sometimes I feel like I'm playing the operation board game, which I always fail at. But I seem to do better at this. Maybe I actually care about this. All right. Turning again for a moment, setting my brush down, muting the microphone while I blow the pollen out of my nose. Pollen be gone. Okay, time to put some more tentacle power, a little more green into the lashing. Let's look at it from the side. It's getting a pretty good profile. The green is definitely jumping out. I think once it gets oversaturated with the green, we'll bring some of that dark blues in, like I'd mentioned, and I think it'll start tying it all together. Oh gosh, it's already 4 o'clock. I did start late though. I had a lot going on today. I was hoping to get all of the painting done today, which I think I may be able to do. As long as I don't get reckless, careless even, like this. As I get a little bit of green on the lip, you just got to come back in with a different brush, clean brush, take most of it away, wipe it on your hand, on your smock, on whatever you've got, then come back in with some water and just kind of fade it away. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. We're all just creatures. Where am I going with this? I think I did enough green to do like 2 solid coats on these tongues, which I think is what it's going to need. Now it's okay for there's little splotchiness here and there, but for the most part I want it to feel like it's got good coverage. And this paint dries so quickly that you can do that pretty fast. And one of the things I'm going to do with the dark blue is I'm going to water it down and do it almost like a, come on brain, words are failing me all of a sudden. Do a wet technique so it's just kind of seeping into the pores and stuff that I've created. Just paint the happy tentacles. Of course I'm just painting the happy tentacles. They're happy little tentacles. Just making them nice and green and slimy and shiny, just like they're supposed to be. Just like everybody wants. I'm going to tilt you back, my friend, so I can see underneath these tentacles. I may need to get a little more green because look, I missed a spot here. It's one of the things you notice when you move things around, look at things from different perspectives. just like everything in life, sometimes you got to look at things from all the perspectives, all the angles, to truly understand them. Yeah, I'm going to need a little bit more green up in here. Give you some closer up details as I'm squirting some green. Okay, now that I got some more green, I'm going to come back in. Slappity slap, 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 slap. Perhaps I got too much green this time around. As I mentioned, I don't like wasting paint. Let's see. It's getting super vibrant. Love how vibrant that green is punching up. Bob Rossing is a verb now. I think, hasn't Bob Rossing always been a verb? I remember when there was the Bob Ross board game that was super, like, they had ads all over Gen Con that year. Ooh, I got some on the lip. That's not cool, Brian. Get better. Do better. I'm going to get that up real quick. Hot two. Oh. Okay, I'm going to have to come back in and put some hot pink on this lower lip because that's a little messy. That's okay. Okay, and I got some on that tooth, but that's okay. The teeth, I think I'm going to do the teeth in like a metallic silver, because really throwing some weird alien shit. We'll do that next. Yes, because I want this green to dry up a little bit more before I start slapping down wet blue on it. Almost like an ink wash. A wash, that's the words that were failing me before. I will die for Tentatongue, as one should. Tentatongue, our new chosen salvation. Okay, now with the teeth, I think this big flat brush is probably a little too wide for what I want. I think I need something with a little more control. Something, nope. Not you, my friend. Uh-oh. This is smaller, flatter, rounder. Perhaps that will be the choice. I did say I want to make it more metallic, silvery, like almost like a metallic plate mail for the teeth. Metal mouthing. We could try that, see how it goes. Shaky, shaky. Especially with the metallic paints. Shake that up. Again, moving this color over to the left. If you were to look down and see my color palette, so far I've only used 4 colors. We will get more in here, but I tend to limit it, especially when you start working with the natural lighting and shadows. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, Tentacle Tongue? Yes, we have literature just printed from the worm containment unit. Okay, now I'm coming in and I'm being more deliberate. I'm being far more careful as I'm coming into these teeth. And I'll come back in with some of the magenta and coming in and doing some of the lips as I come in to try and get closer on the details. I'm trying to make it so you can see it and I can paint it. And where I don't F it up. 6 minutes. 6 minutes. 6 It's moved from some 90s dance music to Dungeon Family, at least temporarily. I'm sure it'll be back to 90s dance music soon. Look at my finger. Sometimes I have to look at my finger, see where I'm placing it down, make sure I don't have wet paint on my finger as I'm going to put it on something I've already painted. I like the metal teeth. I like the silver in there. I think it's going to have a nice shimmer and shine. All right, coming up in here, we're going to get you, little toothy tooth. Sometimes I may have to shine some light in here and make sure I'm getting all the stuff and seeing everything I need to see. Just thought of that. I should have thought of that earlier. Another long outro. Get on with it. Ba-da-da-da. Okay, yes, now back to the 90s dance music. That tooth got set back pretty far, the one that's in there now. In Georgia and Dungeon Family, yes, living the dream. It is true. Yes, I was singing 6 minutes from Dungeon Family. They had when I was working at a design studio, they had their office in the same little tiny strip mall for a little while. What brand is that silver paint? Looks like it has great coverage. It does. It is Army Painter, their War Paints line, and this is Plate Mail Metal. The metallics that these miniature paint companies do are fantastic. I've been really happy with their metals. There's also there's another one that I really like a lot. It'll come to me, or I'll message you with what it is. It's crazy how much you can get out of such a little teeny tiny tube. There was being in Georgia, especially living in Atlanta at the time, there was a period with a whole lot of Outcast on my musical selection. Now trying to get in from like this angle to come in and get the back side of this tooth, challenging. And there's even a tooth right here in between these tongues. What was I thinking? How am I going to get to that? Let's see. Perhaps some light. Shine some light on it. I feel like I need like a dentist mirror right now. Yes, it's happening. It is happening. Just kind of swooshing it around it. Yeah. Beautiful. If you look real closely at this tooth, where it just kind of mashed into the tongue, you can see where the tongue kind of swelled around it like they're biting their own tongue. They're going to be freaking pissed off about that. Woo. Coming back around, getting the back side of this toothy tooth. One day, one of my sculptures, I'm going to put in all my children's teeth. I have them. And it will be creepy. Just need to make it the right thing. coming in. Watch out. Tongue, you are still wet. You are still salivating on me. Okay, so now I got to figure out coming in, not hitting anything, gently slapping that with some of that plate mail color. And then I think after this, I think it's time to come in. Brian said that is super awesome, but I do not know what he refers to, for there are delays upon delays between my thought process, what comes out of my mouth, what gets to you, and then what comes back. The Brian Shutter, that is. Train in the backyard. In case y'all didn't hear that, but I'm pretty sure you did. I think I squirted out way too much of this plate nail color, so I need to do something with it. And this little toothy tooth. Is that tooth or was that lip? I feel like I guess I'll just have to do another coating. It'll make it extra silvery. And yes. It's all awesome. Fantastic. Thank you, Brian. Okay, I think what I may end up doing is getting a paintbrush and trying to scoop it back into the vial just to save it. Because this is super well covered. I don't feel like I need to throw another coat on these. And it's what it is. Let your body move. I do think I want to come back in with some more purples or some magenta just to slap it on where I got the lips on, and then start working some blue washes in. Okay, rinse this brush. That's what it's for. Thank you so much, Lori. I'm pretty happy with it so far. I'm looking forward to cleaning the eyes off and taking it into the computer and really making it fit my universe. Okay, I'm just gonna take one of the paint brush things that protects it, slice it open, and use that like a shovel. To get that paint back into the paint stopper, so I'm not being wasteful. Just gonna bend it, flex it out, finding ways to save your resources is good. I guess this is so minimal, and then I just flicked it all over the table. Maybe this is going to be more hassle than it's worth. Yeah, it's totally more hassle than it's worth. I did not save that much paint. But I'm going to manage to get it everywhere. That's okay. Sometimes you got to try things, see what happens. Before I get too out of control, I'm going to use this rag to get the paint off of the table so I don't get it on other things. I really need to figure out something to put down on this desktop for my crafting now that I've decided to start doing work here, because I'm going to wreck this desktop in no time. Definitely a great choice on Silver Teeth. Gives that xenomorph vibe. Yes. Yes, totally. Okay, let's get a little more of the pink in here. Ooh. I forgot I took the top off, and by taking the top off, it allowed it to shake up and get all up in the lid. So now I'm going to use that and just use that for my little touch-ups. And we'll just bring it down. We'll get a little bit of paint on there and start bringing it down. And we'll come a little bit inside the mouth, knowing that I may come in with some of those blues as well. But let's go ahead and get in there, which I hadn't done any close detail work in there. So it's good that I'm coming back and doing this. Plus, it's going to make the lower lip even punchier. So tonight, I'm cooking dinner, and then after that, I have later this evening, I'm playtesting a game with my friend Alan and my friend Tyler, as Alan is testing out a system to see if he wants to put his Ancient One settings into that RPG system. It's the Plot Weaver system, which is the one that Cosmere and Stormlight Archives uses, that Brotherwise Games developed. We made characters the other day. I'm hopeful that it'll just be like a kind of quick playtest, because with RPG night tomorrow night at the brewery and getting up stupid early on Thursday to head to Austin, I don't think I'm going to have a whole lot in me this evening, but we'll see. Again, just coming in, putting some of the fresh on here, touching up where I messed up. I've been forgetting to hydrate. Hello, friends. Maybe now is the time to take a sip of water. Yep, got to get this upper lip too. I'm really liking how vibrant the green is. It will get muted as I bring a blue wash into it, but it's alright. We may bring some more bright green back in to punch it up once I do that. And then looking in here, there's some spots that have not been hit that I'm coming in with. I should probably come in with some purples in there as well. We'll see. Cheers. Water clink. Cheers. Keep forgetting I'm using like one of the teeny tiniest of brushes, and I'm so used to using something with way more coverage, but I'm supposed to be in here just fixing up the screw ups I've done and not anything else. Watching where I'm putting my fingers as I'm trying not to put it in any existing wet paint. I thought if I could figure out music rights, I could do some dumb like live morning Twitch stream like Richard Simmons used to do, like jazzercising, dancing the weight off, since that's what I do in the mornings anyway. And I think it would be pretty ridiculous, especially up in my office where it's just a bunch of RPG books behind me and I'm just dancing in a small space area, sweating it out. But I don't know how any of those rights work. And it would have to be fun tunes. Oh, did I just get magenta on the green part of the tongue? I think I may have. Okay, got that paint off. I've got this tiny little brush. I want to try and get most of the water out because I just want to soak up the paint. I don't want to blend it around. Yep, sure enough. There's some fresh, wet pink right there on that tongue. See if I can blend that off. You're making a little leather version of your dog for keyring? Oh, that's a wonderful gift. Love that. And you're both making one for each other? That's lovely. Come on, get this pink off of here. I'm just moving it around. It's like the pink is just like, whoop, nope, whoop. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to come back and slap some green on top of it and see how it goes. I've motivated you? Oh, that's fantastic. We should all be making the things. Making things brings me so much joy and happiness. Motivating people brings me even more joy. So I love that. think it's time to mess with some dark blues. We'll start probably up here with some washes, letting it seep, getting it real watered down, letting it seep and run into the cracks. Try not to make too much of a mess, but we'll see. Or do I do a darker purple? No, that's basilisk red. The paint has mixed up so much. There's purple up here and red down here. That tells me that is not going to be the bleu that I want it to be. Ultramarine. Imperial Navy. No, that's a little too... Wolf Gray. Nope, nope, nope. Or do I go with some pre-made washes so they're ready to go? Dark tone. Strong skin shade. No, I don't like skin shades. Strong tone. Onyx skin. Let's see what happens when we do dark tone and see if I fuck it all up. Is this brush big enough? I don't think it is. I want something fatter. Okay, this has a long, how about here? This one has a long brush. This will be fun and wispy. I'm gonna put this on the other side of my palette. So if you look at my palette, I've got the green, the purple, the magenta, the silver. I'm gonna put that on this side. There's still some dried flakes of acrylic, that's okay. I shook it up. It looks wet. It looks like a wash. Again, take this paint, move it over to the left where the rest of my palette is. The actual colors that have been used. This is... Okay, I'm going to get some water on it. I'm going to allow the water to soak in a little bit because I want this to be loose. I'm going to just kind of drop it in to the dark areas. Ow! Let's do it here and see what happens. We're just going to bring this in and just going to slap it around a bunch and let it go into the nooks and crannies. And then eventually I'll bring my thumb over and pull some off of the upper layers. Just kind of let this wallow in the recesses. Then we'll probably come back with a dry brush and do some super highlights with some really bright pinks or some whites, or maybe we'll do some of the green highlights on it to tie into the tongue and the eyeballs. I need some more water up on here. But this is gonna, these washes will allow it to go into the cracks that I may have painted over, that the dry brushing went over. It should start giving it even more contrast and even more pop. Then I'll come in with a finger and pull away at it. Keep coming around. And you have to be careful with washes like this, especially when I start watering them down a whole lot. They'll start to run and drip, and that can be totally fun and totally cool. Sometimes you just need to watch where it's pooling, because it may be very obvious to some people, like, wow, that's just kind of a pool of paint. What are you doing here? Sometimes I just miss it, and that's okay too. So again, just gonna bring some of this up in here, grabbing some of it, dropping it in the existing cracks, and then hoping it'll slide around and fall into other places, darken up the areas, bring a finger around to just kind of pull it off of some of the highlight areas. Excuse me, I have child messaging. Are you using acrylic paints? Yes. I think he may be trying to paint some minis. Perhaps I should take him the paints that I don't need. I'm going to keep these paints. I'm going to put up a bio break thing, and I will be back in just 1 minute or two. Let's see. Boom. And I will mute myself, See y'all in a minute. Hello. Yes, you can totally use that. Or I can just give you that art as well. I'm totally happy to give that to you. Uh, might want that back in a minute to be back in 5 minutes. Yes, totally. Let me know what you want. I can switch things up, and I can take the Vast Grimm logo off. Whatever you need. I ran paints up to my son, and so I only kept the 5 colors that I have, and one bonus color for now. If I need to, I can always run up and grab another color. But I'm liking how you may be able to tell the dark wells in here for where I put the wash in. You can see where it's kind of sitting and it's still a little bit wet, but I think that's good. I'm going to put a little more in here, then we're going to spin it around, do the other side, then we're going to work on the lower area and go from that. I don't think I'm going to put the wash into the tongue. I think I'm going to work on the blue first and see how that goes. But let's get some wash in the other side in just a second. When I was upstairs, it made me remember that tonight I need to, whenever I make a frittata, it always ends up cooking way longer than I think it will. So I'll need to get that made in the oven at some point. I'm going to do a leftover ham and asparagus frittata and do hash browns on the side. You know what? I should probably do it down here too first, since I'm doing it all on one side of the face. Then come around. That way, if that dries, I might be able to touch it with my fat fingers. Introduce myself. A lot of these songs from the 90s dance era did not age very well. Putting more of that in here just to fill it up a little bit more. Putting some down here. I'm going to see how that goes and wipe some of that away. One of the best things is wearing an apron to wipe all your nasty on. And I do get a lot of nasty doing this stuff, especially with the sculpting and the painting. It's been such a joy having so many friends in here today. Okay, time to bring some of this wash into the eyes on this side. Really want to be able, I want to see your eye better, my friend. Okay, let's see. I'm going to get a little bit of water over here. Wet this eye down a little bit before I start scraping with this sculpting tool, just to scrape off some of the acrylic that's on here. Biscuit. I also like to write. And now I'm going to do my dance. I should have grabbed some Q-tips while I was up there. Oh well. I will post finished photos of this once it's all said and done. This is far more fun than work. It's even more fun when it is work. I have to make monsters, right? Because I've got to put things into layout. Ooh, if I could get some green, like neon green LEDs, that would be awesome, because then that could pop off for tying it into the tongue and the eyeballs. Much more fun than doing these rewrites. Yeah. I don't enjoy rewrites as much, but I love when Walt makes my writing so much better than it actually is. That would be pretty fantastic, especially if there was like a big enough audience that actually that wanted that much Vast Grimm fiction. We are a small niche inside of a very small niche, but sci-fi is hitting hard right now in the RPG side. I mean, between Traveler having a 5e release, the Vantress folks have announced that they're doing their 5e sci-fi thing, and then I saw another one that I was getting advertised to on Facebook as well. It's like, that is a lot of 5e sci-fi. And, you know, sci-fi is just not played nearly as much as fantasy is. I think I have a bunch of green LEDs in a drawer somewhere. Yes! I know where I will see you soon. I have some pink ones, because I got some of those knowing that, you know, most of my stuff has that magenta jam to it. And I got some battery hookups for all that to connect them to that. Get in that crack, my friend. Boo-woo. Oh, I need to grab those patches for tomorrow. I think the story will be going live on Amazon on Friday, so excellent. Yes, I forgot. Yes, Dark Space was also, they were running a lot of that at GaryCon as well. I met those folks while there. Very nice. And I know, I'm pretty sure Erica from Ragnarborg ran a hack of the Dark Space one, doing a Halo game using their Dark Space rules. And of course, you know, Mothership being the big OSR is still going strong as far as sci-fi games go. don't know why I started talking about dinner. Now it's like, Brian, perhaps you are hungry. You must wait. There will be hours between now and when dinner commences. All right. Feeling pretty good about this so far. It's got a good profile. I mean, especially once there's like white behind this and you can see it better. Front view's pretty interesting. Rah! The side profile's pretty bitchin'. I like how the tongues go in different ways. Halo, yes, that's it. I'm bad with the vidya games like that. Alright. Did you play in that, Richard? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get some blue. We're going to see how it works on the green tongue. We're going to see if I destroy this and make it look like complete and total garbage and ruin everything. Or if it enhances it. If I ruin it, we'll just come back in and throw some more green on top of it. That's the magic of paint. You can almost always add another coat. Let's see. I don't know if this is the blue that I've been looking for. It's ultramarine. I think I'm going to water this down. I'm going to try and make it wash-like in many ways. And yet, my local RPG scene remains mostly bent on medievalish D&D-like fantasy. Yes, that's like the majority of people that play RPGs. They want to play the fantasy. The sci-fi market is not... I don't think it's big enough for all of these titles. But I hope everyone succeeds, because everybody should make the shit that they love. And they should play the games that they want to play. Did I just get some right here? Already? Sloppy. Get some water on this brush. Go in here from the side. Start. Okay, I don't think I'm getting anything on there. Okay, we're going to try and dry brush it a little bit. Although, just got some on the tongue. I don't like that. That does not make me happy. Not on the tongue, on the tooth. No, you wanted to, but I did play in our Skate Wizards game. Oh, awesome. Totally tubular. You're going to link your Grimm bot on your Discord in a second, unless you want to see it first before people can invite it to their servers. I don't have time. I trust your judgment. You're not going to put out something that's garbage, so fire away. Plus, I know where you'll be tomorrow night. Okay, no, I hate that blue. You probably can't see it, but I hate it. It's not what I... Hate is such a strong word. I should not say that. I'm going to just come back in, and I'm going to put some of this green back in place. I'm going to cover it back up with my favorite green. And then we'll let that dry. We'll go to some of the other tentacle tongues, and we'll put some of the wash on top of that. And that will seep into the dippity dots, the porous surfaces. Just has no accidents, just happy slime. Yes. Okay, we're going to fix that, though. The tongue lashing has commenced. No other lover. Excuse me as my sniffles sniffle. For real, the pollen. But I can't not go outside and walk at lunchtime. It's a wonderful break in the day. It sets my mind in good places. I'm just like, slap, slap, slap. That's a tooth. Here's some green. What's happening? I like green so much I want it on the teeth. Come on, Brian. Get it together. Erase, erase, erase. Undo, undo, undo. There we go. There we go. Now it's getting better. We're getting rid of that blue. Returning it to the wonderful shade of green that it was always meant to be. Okay. I think it may be time to get off of the 90s dance playlist. I don't need to hear CNC Music Factory right now. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to come in. I'm going to add a little more. I've got some magenta in my paint well. You just got back with Zemplin. It's 70 and lovely here. Yes, it is pretty on the outside. I'm going to just add a little more magenta to the lip to punch it up since I've got it in my paint palette. I'm going to try not to mess up the teeth. So as much as I want to groove to the jams, I need to focus and try not to dance around too much. Everything that was broken, but we keep on up. At least while I've got the paintbrush to the monster. Okay. I'm going to let that tongue dry up a little bit. While that's happening, I'm going to bring some more, I'm going to throw in even more magenta. Let's punch it up brighter. Adding these layers will just make it even stronger. Your wife has been missing the winters up north. She turned the AC down to 65. I do like it cold inside. I just got my AC fixed yesterday. It was not spitting out cold air. I was worried it was going to be stupid expensive, and it ended up only being $379. So I was so happy with that outcome because the AC unit at my house is old. I've lived here now like a decade, and it was here long before me. So I was worried it was going to be a big expense. And again, before I do this, mute for a second. Got the pollen out. Much better. Let's do a little more up here. Just going to dry brush some more bright. Adding this extra pink is really, hopefully, as it continues to soak in and dry up, hopefully this will make it even punchier. Break inside. And this, I can dance around and be sloppy too, because I'm just adding more punch. I'm not getting close to the teeth or the tentacles, unless I get real crazy. Sometimes paint will build up right here, and so I like to get a little of that off on some of the ridges. without you, it's a lonely life. Break inside. Okay, continuing on with this, adding more layers and layers and layers. Trying to still give it a blended feel so it doesn't look like it's too flat. But overall, I think this is going to look pretty good once it's all done. I think, like, the next couple of things we're going to do, so I'm just going to keep adding a little more magenta here. We're going to then add the wash to the tongue. Hopefully that works great, and I love it, and you love it. And then I think we may just call it a day. Take some photos of it tomorrow. I can wrap up my extension cord. Well, I should wait till I use the lights to do some good photos and stuff. Gonna do some around the lips, try and stay away from the teethy teeth. Do some around the eye ridges. Come on, punch you up. Get bright and shiny. So now that I'm happy doing this, now that I'm feeling like I should get back to this, I need to figure out how I can work this into my schedule and how regular I can make it. Because, I mean, I don't think I can do this, like, I did it basically 3 work days in a row, which there's no way I can do that once I'm back from Austin. There's just too much other stuff going on in my schedule. But I think I need to do it at least once a week, maybe twice a week. I don't know. Need to figure that out. Then I got to reset this up. I got to set this up in a really easy way that makes it easy to transition from working at the print shop to streaming this. Maybe I could even be, while I'm printing, be working on creatures. I guess maybe I need to do a new bestiary or bestiary, and that would give me a reason to be like, well, I need so many more monsters. Or maybe I need to do an art show again. Like, I was just looking back on my local Carrollton Art Center when I did a 2-person show with Craig Foster, who did my recent Vast Grimm tattoo. I think that was like 10 years ago. Maybe, I mean, with 2027 being 10 years of creature curation and 5 years of Vast Grimm being in print, maybe it's time for me to do a weird retrospective futurist thing. I don't know. Boo-hoo. Yeah. They just did the art takeover a few days ago. Yes, I know. I was traveling when art takeover happened. I think they do that 2 to 4 times a year. I can't remember. It was pretty cool when we had it. We were in the at the art center. They have that small separate room, the Rausch Gallery. So we were in there, and they had the opening reception and the closing reception. Going to use up this pink. Try not to get the tongue or the teeth. Then we'll do some washes inside the tongues. Time to do what time does. Wow. I usually walk up to the art takeover with my daughter because she likes checking it all out. I did it 1 year, a long time ago. That's actually how I met my friend Carrie Drake, who ended up illustrating all of the Revelo stuff for my 5e campaign setting, bestiary, all that stuff. was I had sculptures in this one small shop that was in between. Was it in between Underground Books and something else? It was like this little weird nook in there that's been a couple of things, nothing that's ever lasted because there's no windows or anything like that. Okay, I think it's time for the wash. I'm pretty happy. I like the colors. I don't mind that it's a very limited palette. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I think if I had some white, I might blend some of that in and bring some of that into the top. But since all that is now upstairs with my son, that is the way of things. Okay, brush, water, wash, tungsies. And it's okay if it wells now, if I let it drip down, because it's going to go down into the mouth. Nobody's going to see it. Jason, did you go to the art takeover? Okay, this is going to go into the nooks and crannies. We're going to fill those little hole spots. Hopefully they'll still be bright and punchy with the green. If not, I'll come back in and dry brush some of that on top. It's definitely looking grosser. You're supposed to go into all the little divots, my friend. That's what washes do. Tilt you back. See how it's pooling down here? Just got to pull that around. And if anybody ever has any questions about what I'm doing, why I'm doing what I'm doing, feel free to throw it in the chat. I'm happy to talk, like, why I do what I do. Decisions that I make. No, I hurt my back and I've been taking... Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad it's mostly better now. I'm going to skip this song. Suicide by Pigs is depressing. I like the song, but it makes me sad. And who needs to be depressed when you're making happy monsters? Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to want to come back in with some dry brushing on top of this. I like that the wash is going into the tongue. Here, let's get it up close and personal. Like it's getting these, it's going into the dimples. Whoops. But it's definitely taking away that bright, vibrant punchiness, that neon electric green. So I'm going to want to come back and dry brush that on top once this is all dried up. But it shouldn't take too long, even for a wash to dry. Meanwhile, we can talk about things. Oops. Looks like there was still some wet green in here. Whoopsie, whoopsie. That's a way to start blending things together, which is not cool. Not what I'm looking for at this point in the game. Need just a little more of the wash. I'm going to have to order some more Wicked Pink, or I'm going to have to go to a game store and pick some up. Will I be at a game store anytime soon? Yes, I certainly will. I'm planning on hitting a few game shops while I'm in Austin. I emailed like 4 of them yesterday trying to see if anybody wants any of my wares while I'm a traveling salesman. Loving this, Brian. I'm getting some Vast Grimm NPC ideas already from it. Got to go walk the dog now. Thanks. I will probably be gone when you return. Enjoy your walk. It's always a pleasure to see you. Okay, Yes, that tongue, those tongues, the tentacle tongues, they are done with the wash. We're going to come back. We're going to put some dry brush on top of that. While that's happening, what can we do to make this better yet? I don't want to add, do I want to add highlights? Do I want to go up and get some white to drop some highlights down on the fin? 450, I think I need even more contrast. Okay, I'm going to set on the bio break sign. I'm going to mute the audio, and I will be back in just a minute or two. I'm going to run upstairs, grab that, and be back. Stand by. Operators are standing by. Hello, friends. I've returned, more powerful than ever before. This time, I got some pixie pink. I also got some matte white. Time to put my earbuds back in. Let's mix it up. Change it up. I've been listening to the Co-Defendants, but now it's time to change it up, and we're going to go to a punk mix. All right. Nothing like a cover by Me First and the Gimme Gimmes of Country Roads by John Denver. I'm going to start with some Pixie Pink, doing that on top to bring some highlights in. Shake it up. Almost West Virginia, Blues Mountain, Shenandoah River. Popping this off. So a little bit will come out because it looks a little clogged up. Sometimes you need to get a paper clip, jam it down in the hole to unplug it. Back when I was missing home being Maryland originally, and I was shortly after moving down here, this song would come on, and it would make me think of the drive back to Maryland from Georgia. Okay, we're gonna try and see what happens when I put this Pixie Pink up here, and see if we like this as a highlight, or if it's too light. I don't know. I think it might be what we need. Might add a little to it. Just kind of dry brushing this down, pulling it down just a little bit. Just work it in so it blends. Voice in. You try and get not too much on your brush, right? Just a little bit. Just gonna drag it across the top, right? Because we don't want to have too much as we're pulling down, because we don't want it to overpower that magenta that I love oh so much. To the place where I belong, West Virginia. Then we'll bring some into the brow as well. We're not going to bring this in everywhere. You know, if we put it everywhere, it's going to lose the impact. It's going to lose that. Holy crap! It's really light there. Dry brushing this, slapping it around a little bit, right? Trying to just add a little more highlight, add a little more contrast and depth. Again, freaking, what's it called? The pollen. Okay, I'm going to do it again on this side because I only got the other side when cruising it around. Then we're going to pull it down, knowing that there's still some in the, how I mentioned that there's usually some paint down in the base. just flattening that against it'll start pulling some of that color in there too, because sometimes you just have a little bit of reserve of this color in your brush, whether you know it or not. You just got to kind of work it down and work it in. I'm going to do a little more because I feel like it needs a little extra. All right, now we're starting to see even more contrast, more variation. Again, gonna bring some into the brow. Okay, maybe that's a little, sometimes when it's more than you want, you just gotta brush it off on your apron or whatever you've got going on. I'm just putting it there on the brow. I don't want to put it anywhere else in there. That's the only place, that and that top ridge on the upper part of the head that I want this. I'm going to do a little more up here. We're just going to bring this in and blend it down. Again, just pulling that color through. Okay, maybe I got a little down there. That's okay. Maybe I want a little down here now too. Since we've got it up here and up here, okay, Prop Gandhi, let's move. I think I want to do a little on the lower lip to kind of bring some down into that region. Little bubblegum pink going on. I brought white down too, but I don't think I'm going to end up using it. I think this is what we're going to use and that's it. And then we're going to come back in, we're going to punch up some green on the tongue, and then I think we're going to call it a day. Knowing that we probably have about 10 minutes left in the stream. Do you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, things you wish I would have done differently, stuff you'd like me to talk about on a future stream? It has been lovely getting to chat with all of you here while I do this. It's so much more fun than making stuff alone. And I hope that you're making something for you. So there's nothing more enjoyable than making something that you want to create. And then especially if you get to share it with other people. Okay, I'm happy with that lower lip having that kind of lighter pink, so it kind of separates the upper and lower mouth. While we're waiting, I'm going to give the tongue just a little more time for that to set in. You know all of the techniques you're using. I'm just incapable of using them as effectively as me. Well, part of that is just, practice and repetition, just like anything else in life, just like all the graphic design stuff that I do. If you do it long enough, you don't really think about it much, which is you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and you get better and better. I mean, that's pretty much any artistic skill. I think most of that is just muscle memory and training your brain to do it without thinking. Because when you don't have to think about it, that's when you can sit back and really enjoy the process. So I'm just taking some water and this brush, and I'm just kind of coming in almost like an eraser and getting rid of some of the paint that's on top of these glass beads. That's one of the nice things about these being glass. They're pretty easy to clean up, and it makes it so that you can quickly start to really feel like this thing's alive, or perhaps once was before it was hunted down and murdered. Was it murdered, or was it some sort of self-defense? For this creature was trying to kill everyone and eat all of the mechanical, all the electrical in the starship, destroying life. Sorry, brain distracted. I mean, I did it for a full Tyranid army back when I played 40k. I do not know what that means for Tyranid and how large that army would be, but only because I'm just not a 40k person. I would assume, because like most things in Warhammer, you need a lot, that it was a lot. Again, just cleaning up these eyes while I'm waiting to be able to go in and dry brush some green on there. Gonna scrape some of this dry paint away. I'll clean it up even more once on the final go. That's good to start seeing those eyeballs. It's not dead. It's breaking through the wall to say hi and show off its tentacles. Yes, I like that. It was a lot. I bet it was a lot. Those armies are crazy. That's wargaming on that scale is just beyond my brain capacity. Like, the idea of having to control that many characters or things in one game is very intimidating to me. That's why even like skirmish games where you're controlling 5 starts to feel a little daunting at first until I get into it. Can almost see that eye looking back at me. Oh, that sad little eye that got gouged out. I wonder who ate that. I wonder if it's a magic item in somebody's bag right now. I wonder what that eye does. You also played Tyranids back in the mid-2000s. It was expensive back then, and it's gotten even more expensive now. Apparently you can 3D print them now. I doubt they would be officially sanctioned ones from, what's it called? They don't let you 3D print the stuff directly, like the ones that are part of the official line. I'm sure there's some knockoffs, though. They're very particular about controlling their IP, which is fair. Okay, so now, eyeballs are scraped for the most part. They'll get a final clean before it's all said and done. Plus, I'm going to put a coating on this. I'll probably do a mix of a matte finish and then also some areas with a gloss finish to make it slimier and creepier, especially like the tongue, the teeth, maybe little bits and pieces along that area. But before any of that, let's go back in. Let's slap in some more green and put some highlights in to really punch up this tongue. Now that I've got these, there's a lot of war games that revolve around 3D printing the figures. Oh, sure. I just don't think Warhammer is one that is happy to go down that route. I'm just gonna come back in, do a little punchy punch. We'll still leave some of this. Looks like it's filling in a lot of the divots, so maybe I won't do a ton of this, but enough to still give it some of that punchy green. Maybe let it slide back as it goes further back into the mouth, where it's not as bright and punchy, but have the stuff that's further out still have this bright color, because I love this green. Oh my god, what am I doing? Look at that. I'm making a freaking mess like a fool. Sometimes when you start slapping paint around, it goes everywhere. Who knew? I knew. I just wasn't paying attention like a fool. That's okay. You can just get a little bit of water on a brush and you can just move it around like an eraser. Sometimes I'm just overly dramatic. Okay, here we go. Back with the green. Not as much paint on the brush, so hopefully it won't go everywhere. And moving a little slower, a little more methodical. Bringing it down, moving that green around. Well, I'm really happy with how this afternoon has turned out with painting these creatures. This creature. Still need to figure out what this thing's going to be. A little more green, and then I think we'll be done soon. I'm going to have to take some good photos tomorrow, assuming I have time. Got to do some writing tomorrow. A little bit more packing, maybe some laundry. That's probably good. Run some game tomorrow night. Gonna put a little more here. Gonna bring a little more of that bright green in before it works its way back into the mouth. A little up here too. I do not want you potential spam. I want to listen to my music. Come on. Okay. All in all, yeah, I think that's done. I think that's good. I'm pleased. I need to wash my brushes out for real, not just in my paint water. That'll be upstairs in the sink. Let's turn it sideways for y'all to see it. Thank you so much for joining me on my quest today. Feel free to, if you're not in the Discord, do a look for the Grimm Place Discord, or go to creaturecuration.com, and on one of the drop-down menus is the Discord. That's the best place to chat with me if you want to talk about this or other weird things. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, chatting along, friends. Anybody that's lurking in the background that's just watching, or anybody that's catching this on the rewind. I appreciate it. Have a lovely day, and I hope you get out there and make something weird.